As part of Verizon's 20th anniversary, we're spotlighting the people and stories that move the world forward. One story that keeps coming up is hair in the Black community. So we partnered with the team at Build Series and sat down at the Soultry Scissors salon in West Orange, New Jersey, for a real conversation about authenticity and hair. First up, executive coach and Soultry Scissors owner Kim Givens, Mahisha Dellinger, founder and CEO of Curls, and Shaquille Romblay with Huff Post. Then we'll hear from marketing strategist for the fashion and beauty industry, Trenesa Stanford-Danuser, along with two Verizon leaders, Genia Wilbourn of Network Operations and David Hubbard from Legal and Public Policy. Tune in for the conversation. Hi, Kim. Thank you for having us here at the Soultry Scissors salon. I'm so excited. It's a beautiful place.
Thank you.
When did you open up your salon, and who are some of your clientele?
I've been here since May 2004. I've served as professional women who are principals, women who are teachers, administrators, moms, you name it.
Everybody.
And so the women that need me have to present every day or in their workspace.
Because they have to walk into their space feeling empowered.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
For Black women, your hair is a huge part of that.
It's everything. I mean, I think it breeds our confidence. Your self-esteem starts there. When you come out your best, you feel your best, you are your best. It's not superficial.
No, I agree with you. I like that you talked about like our hair being our crown, but the beautiful thing about Black hair, it kind of creates a sense of community. Like think about like the importance of the hair salon and how people become friends, or like how many times you walk down the street and you see somebody with your hairstyle, you're like, girl, you know, it kind of forms instant bonds.
There's an instant look when you see when I see another naturalista, I'm like, hey.
Exactly. So the beautiful thing about like Black hair, it kind of like creates fellowship.
And Mahisha, you started Curls in 2002. So why was that important for you to get involved in the conversation with hair on a ground level?
Well, I was at the time a newly natural mother looking for natural options, and thinking back in 2002, what was available for us? Not a lot. Jerry curl juice, perms, relaxers, didn't want any of that. I wanted to have a product line that I could use to embrace my natural texture, but also be good for my hair. Didn't find it, so I created it.
Yeah. And we're in this moment, like this real moment where people are embracing their texture, embracing their natural hair. What do you think led to this moment?
Women got tired of coming to the salon and not being serviced the way they needed to be. Right? And so I've been doing natural hair since 2003. I am listening, I am hearing, and I am feeling what a sister needs.
And back in the 70s, it was a political Black power movement with natural and the afros. Now it's more of an emotionally charged movement. So it is all about taking back power of who we are.
I think that reclaiming power and also reclaiming your hair. So for a long time, if you came to work with dreads or weave, you may potentially be sent home. But now we're in a day and age where we're like, our hair is beautiful, let's embrace it. No matter what texture it is, let's embrace how we look.
When my grandmother was coming up, they'd use the press and curl comb. When my mother was raising me, that's when the relaxers were coming about. When I'm raising my daughter, I'm like, no, I'll show you how to work your hair. So growing up, she was very, very comfortable in her hair.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shaquille, you just recently worked on an amazing video for Huff Post exploring Black hair.
We have so much strength in our hair. It's part of our identity. You know, you pull that identity away from us, it's kind of like you're pulling that strength, you know, from us. We have to take our power back. Let's start with our hair.
Why was it important for Huff Post to put out that video?
I think first and foremost, when people think about Blackness, they think about it as a monolith. So they assume that every Black person has the same hair, the same type of hair textures. And I also think when you look at the news, we are consistently being oppressed over our hairstyles. So we wanted to make a video that kind of celebrated the Black hair and talk about the historical impact of Black hair. Like in the video, while doing it, I learned that some slaves would braid like rice into their children's hair so that if the child was captured, the child would be able to eat rice grains while captured. So we wanted to kind of show off the legacy of Black hair, the importance of it, and the diversity among women and men and their hairstyles. And And I think once you understand the hair and how it's revolutionized our history, you also understand the history. Because there's this big misconception that Black women perm their hair to kind of be white. Right. When the truth is, Black women were not getting jobs because of their natural hair. So there's so many lies. So if you understand the history, you'll understand why we are where we are today.
Locks are another level of natural. That's not, from curly to natural or kinky to locks.
Right.
A little more intimidating for most.
Yeah, there's this we have to talk about men also, right? And when men get dreadlocks, there's this assumption that they're drug dealers.
I always tell folks, there's nothing dreadful about them. There's nothing dreadful about them. So I always say they're locks, period. Because the definition of what people put to the dread,
the Rasta,
always high. That's not true. That's not true. So they're locks.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why we have the Crown Act, which was passed in California, in New York, and a lot of other places are considering it. And it makes discrimination on the basis of natural hair illegal. So it's empowering people of color to walk into corporate America feeling empowered. They cannot be discriminated against because of their hair.
The way my hair grows out of my head or how I choose to style my hair has to now be a conversation to create legislation to make sure I'm protected in the workplace.
That's how powerful we are.
Isn't it crazy? It's so crazy. Why are we talking about my hair?
Yeah, it's just extremely painful when you see videos of teenage girls who just got an amazing hairstyle and they're crying because they can't come to school because of those hairstyles. So I'm so happy that the legislation is happening, but you're absolutely right. It's so a shame that we have to have legislation just to protect how we look and our beauty.
What do we do? How do we help combat that? Because sometimes it's our own community as well.
They can be.
Yeah. I think these conversations, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty, right? We have these conversations and we keep having these conversations. And I think creating videos like the one that I created, you give people the opportunity to understand our hair and why we're doing it. Also, representation matters. When we have the Victoria's Secret angel walk down the runway with her natural hair. When we see people like Lupita, when we see
it's everything.
Viola.
She's everything.
Let's celebrate Black hair. You know what I mean? Look at us. Look at the beautiful curls, straight, blonde, waves on swim.
Waves on swim.
So I just want to celebrate that because I think our hair is so beautiful. It's diverse. It has so much range. It tells so many different stories. So I'm gonna hold on to the positive and celebrate the beauty that is Black hair and the glory that is our crown.
And the magic.
And the magic.
And I'm with you. I think we're having these conversations now so that those little girls can just grow up not having to have it.
Yes.
In the Black community, hair is a part of identity, culture, and history. But what happens when hair meets corporate America? Hear what Verizon executives Genia Wilbourn and David Hubbard and marketing strategist Trenesa Stanford-Danuser have to say on their respective hair journeys while navigating the corporate world, and the advice they share with younger generations along the way. I'm so glad that you guys are here joining me at the Soultry Scissors salon in West Orange, New Jersey, because I can't think of a better place to have the conversation that we're gonna have today, which is around Black hair and authenticity in the workplace. Tell me about what your job is.
I have a global network operations team, and we are responsible for building and maintaining the best network. The best network.
The best.
And Trenesa, what do you do?
I am a consultant in branding and strategy with some emphasis on multicultural marketing.
And how about you, David?
I'm a lawyer in the Verizon legal team, and I lead the team responsible for product and marketing in the Verizon Consumer Group.
Definitely. I wanted to jump in a time capsule and go back in time and look at some photos of you guys in your younger years. I'm gonna start with you. So just tell us about this photo.
This is in the 70s. I was in a dance recital, and my mom wanted to do my hair all in curls. I said, no. Look at that.
It's a good look. There's more.
Okay, now we're going into the 80s.
Yes.
This is the hard porcupine look,
Thanks.
right? But who let me leave the house with those earrings? That's what I'm trying to understand. Look at, what is that? But this is during a phase where the harder the better. Like my hair was super hard in the front, so I hairsprayed it and curled it every day, which is horrible for your hair, right? This is when I'm starting to enter in corporate America, and this is probably where I started to wear the bun more so than anything. And then now I'm in my 40s, and I think I can do anything. Even the Princess Leia puffballs, right? I rock them. And then normal Gina. That's
Every day.
That's the everyday look.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I was just
Did you have
I was just
hair?
able to quickly have one with hair. This is me and my lovely sister Joya, and I had hair.
Yes.
Just I know you needed proof. So then in high school,
The waves were everything.
I played basketball.
That was it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I lived with my waves. Yeah, until I went bald. I was on the basketball team and I shaved it because it gave me a little fierce. I felt fierce,
Yeah.
Let me see what it is before I show it. Okay, we can do that. So that's me. That's with
Beautiful.
the crochet.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
So this was actually the morning of my 50th birthday.
This is your 50th birthday?
Yes, that was me on my 50th birthday.
Not
Really?
So you know what? It's all in the genes. And this is me with some other hair I bought.
Yep.
So just keep up, because it's gonna change. Just like I told you, it's like focus on the face, because the hair is gonna change. Here's my Princess Leia with my family.
That's right.
And this is me recently in the office. Focus on the face.
Thanks each of you for sharing that. I think it's important for people to know that it is just a personal journey. It's something you have to do on your own. So I want to pose a question to each of you. What does it mean for you to walk into work authentically?
When I wake up in the morning, I dress, I wear my hair. Everything is according to my energy and my mood. So if I want to get up and I want to wear heels, I wear heels. If I want to get up and I want to wear sneakers, I wear sneakers. And I'm so comfortable with it. And I wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
But like bringing your authentic self is who you are at work and who you are at home should not be that different.
I agree. Work is hard, and so I don't want to have to work on myself and do the job. So being authentic is really the easiest place to be. And I remember when I was going into a very large global job, and I was meeting with the CEO of the company at the time.
Yeah.
And so I deliberately blew my afro out as far as it could go, and I had that final meeting. I got the job, by the way.
Good.
But it was just sort of like, this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten to this point where I get to have audience with you, and I want you to know that I'm not coming here to conform. I'm coming here to really represent.
But also other Black women that are
The
looking
foot was
at
in
you.
the door
The same
for
thing
others,
for them,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
And oftentimes we're walking into environments where we are the only representative, and so there are these preconceived notions, and so let's just set the record straight. This is what you're gonna get, and is this gonna work for you?
Absolutely. What about you, David?
For me, I want to be the best me every day. And that means being a Black man that I am, right? I've got to embrace that before I expect everybody else in the world to embrace it. Coming to work authentically to me just means whether that's personality, whether it's clothes, whether it's hairstyle, just being comfortable and doing what I would do in any other place. And then I was thinking about what baldness means to me. And that's my authentic self, because I developed a confidence in being bald. There weren't many people who were bald in high school. There weren't many people even in college. I think it's far more popular now, but that has always been part, or not always, but since I've done it, it's sort of been almost a confidence thing for me to actually shave. So just
I love that.
as you might do your hair, I'm like, I want it shaved and shiny. That's been key to me, but I will say, and I agree with Genia on this, it's not that easy. It's been sort of a journey where I'm far more authentically me now.
Yeah. And you do see, I think, a lot more Black men wearing their hair. It's choice by going bald.
It is.
You talk about the evolution, and I want to come back to you. I know you went to a historically Black college.
Yes, Morgan State.
Yes. So talk to me about going from a place that I would imagine was a lot more natural for you to just embrace whatever hair you wanted to, and then going into the corporate space. What was that transition like for you?
You know, I'm thinking about how I wore my hair. Sometimes it was in braids, sometimes it was wild and curly, sometimes it was straight. And the whole campus was like that. Everyone did their own thing. I got to corporate America and I looked around and I was like, oh, they're doing things a little differently here, right? And so when I walked into corporate America, I did not bring my authentic self. I immediately had a switch that said, okay, I have to switch now, and I have to wear my hair in a bun, and I have to wear a suit, and I have to wear heels, and I was very uncomfortable.
How about you? What has your hair journey been like transitioning just over the years and into the corporate space?
I was natural since 1998. So I was one of those people that walked into the room with a very short cropped hair, and there were some assumptions that were made about my sexuality. There were questions that really confused people. There were comments that I would get from some older generations like, girl, you need to get a relaxer. What are you doing? You know, and there was just this part of me that was like, I'm going to embrace me.
Unfortunately, if you were growing an afro or if you had locks, that was deemed to be rebellious. And that's something that we, as a business and as leaders, have to change.
I think that was back then. I think it has changed. Yeah. I gotta be honest, like when you think about everything that's going on in the country, in the world, the last thing we should be worried about is black hair. I hope to come to a place where this conversation goes away. And I think it's gonna take more time, but I do think we're making some progress. We're here in Soultry Scissors having this conversation with you, and I think that's progress.
Yeah, definitely. And you work with big corporations on their multicultural marketing. So what has your experience been like going into these companies and helping them focus in on who they're marketing to?
So what I've really been very fortunate in my career is I've been able to work with companies that have started at the root of the matter. They understand the biology of our skin and of our hair so that they're making products that are right for us. And then I come in to say, how do you approach this consumer to speak to her authentically? Because we're already sort of giving you the side eye because you've let us down. And so there definitely is sort of this uphill climb that some corporations have to have when they're sort of trying to bring us back into the fold because they've misrepresented that the products were actually for us. But now, they're out there. So it's time to get us in the conference rooms, around the boardroom table, and have our voices heard so that we can make sure that we're reaching her the right way.
The more you embrace inclusion, the more productive and the more employees are going to show up for you at work. If I look at Verizon, even 5 years ago to today, is a very different company in a positive way, right? And I do think it has a lot to do with our CEO came in, he put his thumbprint on the company. You know, he is creating this environment of inclusion. Like when he showed up in a t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers, we have never seen our CEO dressed like that. I think that that opened the door to not just how we dress, but everyone feeling comfortable in their own skin and bringing themselves. I see it in my own employees, and it's refreshing to watch, right? And so I love that.
I do too. I think we are a vastly different company than we were years ago, culturally, for sure. And I think one of the key things that obligations that we have as leaders is to show that people can come. We don't really care what you look like. That doesn't matter. You're judged by your performance and your ideas. And if you come to work with great performance and great ideas, then you're gonna do well in this company. And I think that message is loud and clear across the business.
And let's have more companies embrace that idea.
And it's uncomfortable conversation, but we gotta be okay with being uncomfortable. And I think this is the start of that.
And I wanna thank each of you for sharing your stories with me today and keeping this conversation going. Like you said, it's not something that's gonna change overnight, but I do think this is an important part of the process.
Yes.
So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And the Oscar goes to Hair Love, Matthew A. Cherry, and Karen Murphy-Oliver.
We have a firm belief that representation matters deeply.
So I just want to say that Hair Love was done because we wanted to see more representation in animation. We wanted to normalize black hair. There's a very important issue that's out there. It's the Crown Act. And if we can help to get this passed in all 50 states, it will help stories like DeAndre Arnold stop to happen.